while we were talking about Black Ops 4, because he was one of the devs that worked on Black Ops 4, there's another video here, and I'm actually going, this is a weird way of doing this, I don't normally do this. I'm going to mute his video and play it at probably 1.5 times speed, because I think I can like inform you guys just as well as he can about what is going on in the background. I just can't get gameplay of this. So what this is it's a video by COD Tricks and Secrets called Scrapped Black Ops 2 Map from Black Ops Cold War Map Overview. So I'm going to mute this. I'm going to play it at, let's go 1.5 times speed, and I'm just going to play this. Now, what this is, it says Duo's Operation Ascension in the bottom left-hand corner. When Black Ops Cold War was coming out, or if you remember, Black Ops 4 had Blackout. Now, I think it was assumed when Blackout came out and it was popular that they would be making a Blackout 2. This is that map, and you are going to recognize a lot about it because this map is essentially Outbreak. So their work put into this map was not wasted, but some of the differences that you're going to notice is like the ground loot, things along those lines are very similar to what you saw in Blackout. Now, I will pause this. This was actually a leaked map. This came out, I can't remember when, but this map was leaked. And you can see we have the mines up by where I am. We have the weather station down at the bottom, ski slopes, zoo, Ruka, sanatorium, battery at Golova. Now, a lot of these were ground war maps in multiplayer. A lot of these were areas in Outbreak. But there was a map as a whole that was put together. Now, the gameplay that you were watching here was actually it was interesting because we just talked about QA testing. This was a build of the game, and this is something that I was told that they do quite frequently, where they send out the build of a game to the workers of the company and their family as a way of essentially free QA testing. And in this build, there was zombies, there was multiplayer, there was Blackout 2, which never came to be. Now, you can kind of see how the menu works here, very similar to what you saw in Blackout, but it's also a little bit different at the same time. Now, as we know, Blackout 2 never came to be. And you may be wondering, like, what was the reason for that? Why did Blackout 2 never get released? And it's a solid question, and the answer to it is actually relatively simple: Warzone. As you guys know, Modern Warfare 2019 came out, and Warzone was incredibly popular. Now, this game never really had a chance because Warzone's popularity. Like, if we have a look here, like, this is the map. Like, this is the overview of the map. And, like, the aesthetics to it, honestly, look horrible compared to Warzone. That's my opinion. You can disagree with me. And this was a big problem when Black Ops Cold War came out. And this is why I think Black Ops Cold War was actually a really good game, but I never got into it. And the reason for that is because Black Ops Cold War was on a different engine than Warzone. Like, maybe you forget this, maybe you don't remember, but yeah, it was on a different engine than Warzone. And because of that, the game just felt different. And like, if you look at this map right here, what you were seeing, and you guys probably know this area, maybe Outbreak, maybe whatever you played on it. But like, if you look at this, it doesn't look the same as Warzone. It doesn't feel the same as Warzone. And I think that was a really big problem when Black Ops Cold War was released. And just looking at this, it's odd to see this because we know this area. We know what was on this area, and this is obviously Summit, as you're seeing here. So they did the same kind of thing that Blackout did, where they had the various different areas of the map that were recreated from multiplayer maps, and some of the areas are very, very detailed. Like, I'd say, like, this area that we're in here is much more detailed than some of the other areas he goes into in this video. But as you can see, you can pick up a death machine off the ground. But because this was an early build, not everything was obviously working properly. But this never came to be. This was never launched. This never came out. And I don't think we will ever see a Blackout game again. Like, I just don't. Like, here's a difference. Here's how you know it's not a multiplayer map. You obviously couldn't do this on the multiplayer map. Imagine how overpowered that spot would be in multiplayer. But yeah, another difference is with like Outbreak and these other maps, they all weren't one persistent area. You couldn't go from one area to the other. In Zombies, you would have to like go through the rift or whatever you went through, and it would put you in one of the other areas. In multiplayer, obviously, you had a limited section of the map. And if you look over the area that he's looking at right there, you can see some of the textures are not finished. That's an unfinished game. And I'm wondering at what point this got scrapped. Like, it looks not early. It looks like they kind of built areas of the map, pasted them together, and then just never finished them. Here he goes into zoo and kind of explores that area. But this is what I was talking about when we were looking at the overview of it. It was very clear that some of the areas weren't finished, and then this one, like this is like done. Like this, they put all the effort in. The textures are done, and they just weren't able to do that for the full thing because it wasn't launched. Now, I believe at the time of this coming out, this is another thing that was super interesting. If you look at this map, you could swim. You just saw him go in the water there. You could swim. You can go into the different areas. Outbreak came out in season 2 of Cold War, so probably got scrapped pretty early. Yeah. I mean, you got to remember when they're developing the game, like this is not like they didn't work for Cold War for like 1 year. It was probably like 2, 3, somewhere around there, maybe longer, with ideas being spitballed around. So it's really hard to say like how long was put into like this, for example. But yeah, when Cold War came out, we saw these changes between I think that's actually a really good example. Like, look at this area compared to the zoo that we were in. Look at this area compared to like downtown Verdansk. It's not the same. It's not finished. It's not polished. It looks, what's the word I'm going for here? Is cartoony what I want to go for? Here you can see something new. They have like elevators with doors, obviously not finished, like very clearly not finished. So obviously a lot more work needed to be put into this. People in chat, Outbreak mode. Was it good? Was it bad? I actually want to hear what you guys have to say about this, because Outbreak was one that I couldn't really get into. Do you think they had Outbreak planned for Cold War from the start, or did they add Outbreak to replace this? Ooh, that is a good question. I think they probably had an idea of an open world zombies idea, and then they had this that they were probably building for Blackout 2, and they transitioned it. They said, we already have this built, we can use this for ground war, and we might as well try our open world zombies. And really, like, if you look at Outbreak, it's essentially an early version of Modern Warfare Zombies. Right? Like, Modern Warfare Zombies became more of an extraction shooter, whereas Outbreak was more a open concept zombies. And to me, Outbreak never really landed. Like, it didn't... Round-based zombies pulled me in, whereas Outbreak was fun for an afternoon. Does that make sense? And I don't know, I can't put my finger on why. Like, when they are going through these open field areas, first of all, that looks like Vorkuta. That's interesting. But like, yeah, look how unfinished this area is. Like, it's very clear that they were only like half done the map before it got scrapped and sectioned off into areas. So like, their time didn't get wasted on those areas because they got used in other things, but obviously it got used in a very, very different way. Like, but you can clearly see the difference. I personally never cared for Outbreak nor played it. I mean, if you never played it, obviously you couldn't really care for it. But the other question that I have when I see this is like, what would have happened if like Warzone, like this would have never happened, but if Warzone kind of got abandoned for a year and Blackout was released and then another Warzone came out and they kind of transitioned it the same way that they do Call of Duty games year after year. They're like, okay, Warzone is done for this year. We're going to have Blackout come out next year. Then we're going to have Warzone 2 next year. Then we're going to have Blackout 2 the next year. And then we're going to have Warzone 3 the next year. And then we're going to have Blackout. Like, they would obviously never do that. And I think the biggest reason is for that is they realize the power of free to play, right? Like, just this little building in the middle of nowhere. That's like this is the most Treyarch building I've ever seen. Like, just like, it really does. But obviously you recognize some of these. If you played Cold War, you 100% recognize a bunch of these locations. And yeah, that's essentially, we have stadium here. This is a hockey stadium. What map does that remind me of? There was a map in Black Ops 1 that this is from. What is it? It wasn't called Stadium though, was it? Because this is 100% that map. It was from Black Ops 1. Was it Stadium? Oh, okay. Yeah, it was literally called Stadium. Okay, never mind. I just sound dumb now. But yeah, that was the erased, deleted. Yeah, it was DLC. That's correct. That was the deleted Black Ops 2. Find it very curious that it was called Operation Ascension, but that's pretty cool. Sounds like a code name for a very Treyarchy map. They love their Ascension and code names and things like that. But anyway, that's all I got for that.